welcome to lesson 17 on tool palettes and customizing them. Here, this is my custom palette. It contains various menus, site planning, building elements, columns, doors, windows, framing members, stairs, windows, site planning, site modifiers, massing models, and what have you, roads, furniture and fixtures, cupboards, sanitary fittings, kitchen fittings, desks, fireplaces, handrails, soft goods, which will make a curtain, and workstations. Solids rather duplicates the available tools in the 3D Tools menu. Space planning. Detailing has angles and a whole range of other steel sections nested underneath that. MEP, mostly 2D objects. Fasteners. So here we have bolts and nuts and screws. Generally speaking, underneath the 3D, what you see when you see this little arrow to the right, you can nest others underneath. So in this case, I've nested the 2D one underneath the 3D one, which has a sort of organisational logic to it. And then, of course, you've got metric, ISO, and the German standard as well. Springs, quite fun. There's a 3D spring and a 2D spring nested underneath it. Bearing balls and landscape, which has these plug-in tools, foliage and visual plant, which won't go into now, but you can try them. My other palette here is drawing objects. It's objects that are part of presenting a drawing. Scale bar, elevation benchmark, blah 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 blah, north arrow and stuff like that. My walls have walls in them. Under here is the rendering. So, and there you've got lights, different types of lights, heliodon, and cameras, rather useful. RenderWorks camera for perspective viewports. So if your palette is calling you, and you're in Nairobi, you can try the menu at this Amalai restaurant, one of our clients, family-run business with real upcountry food, which has been incredibly popular in America for the diaspora, but there's a big difference between a real chicken up country that runs around the yard and eats stuff in the ground and a battery thing that ends up in a supermarket. And this was their kitchen kiosk we did for them in Nairobi, a sort of semi-permanent affair in which we have a lot of kitchen fittings and things like that which are available through that furniture, fixtures and fittings menu. Wall cabinets, custom cabinets, utility cabinets, countertops. These are indeed 3D symbols for convenience. That's what you get from the wall cabinet. Plug-in menu, finishes, sizes, types. But the reason for this lesson is if you're a bit older like me and you've been using Vectorworks for more than 20 years and you've become accustomed to the way your menu is arranged and you know where things are and where tools are, it's part of the efficiency of the workflow. And of course, like anything else, when something new comes along, it's all changed. I recall when Windows was upgraded, was it 2011 with the ribbon, I couldn't find any of the tools. And I was, seriously compromising my workflow. And it's one of the reasons we resist updating, or at least in this case, we can save those interface preferences, and we do that in workspaces. This records my preferences in the folder in your user library, application support, and if you update software, you can bring back your tools where you want them easily enough. And this is my 2018, and a major difference was what I'm about to show you was customizing these tool palettes, because we'll look at Designer. So this was the kind of new arrangement of your tool sets. I'm looking at detailing. So why is soft goods there? And then, is this in any sensible order? Are these all the 2D objects and none of the 3D ones? It's certainly not in alphabetical order. I think it's a mess. Now we're in the building shell, and this is a bit of wall tool. What's that doing in there? Very unsatisfactory, and I realised after some time that I'm going to have to spend the best part of a day completely reorganising and rationalising these palettes. It's essential to keep the interface, your workspace that you can work with. Otherwise, you'll find yourself, your workflow is seriously disadvantaged. I don't get the way much of these menus and the tool palettes are organised. So we'll go back. We'll just focus on the components one because this is mostly used frequently, particularly building elements and furniture fixtures, and then really not so much detailing but fasteners. Generally speaking, the minute you choose a framing member, all of these detailing options come up when you select the structural section shape that you want. So we need to have a look again at the workspace arrangement. First thing to notice is that legacy. So these are the things that are left behind. They're still available, but they're part of they've kind of been superseded. Many of them you'll want to keep. It's a thankless task to try and find what you want in any particular subcategory. So don't waste time with that. Just go directly to menus, and all the commands you want are here. Can't actually search them. It's a little bit unfortunate, but so first of all, menus organize generally has organized things in it, and tools are tools. Whatever way your mind works, it doesn't really matter so long as you can find what you want quickly. We've talked about a custom right click in a previous lesson. So let's concentrate on tools. Okay, so again, don't mess about with the subcategories of that. All your tools you want are here. So I want wall tools, wall in there. So everything to do with walls is in that one. Everything to do with 3D tools is in that one. And of course I've needed to make a new palette, which is easy enough. So this palette is called DOM components. Within it are tool sets. Now I've got all my shell building elements in there. I've got my site planning things in there, and I've got my furniture and fixtures in there, and I've arranged them in alphabetical order. Fasteners is one I use frequently. I've organised these in a sensible way so I can get, as I previously mentioned, but generally the 3D thing is up front, and behind it is the 2D one. It's a big deal to do this, I found, but absolutely unquestionably worth it. So okay, this is P for pin, ring, R for ring, rivet, slot, sprocket, washer, wood rough, worm. It's in some kind of an order that makes sense, and then you can find stuff. That, I hope, explains the chore of organising your workspace, because it impacts so fundamentally on your workflow and your productivity, and your capabilities. Because if you can't find a tool, you'll forget about it. It takes about something like watching this, or to find out. I didn't know it had a swing eye bolt. Well, quickly just look around at some of the objects that not all have come out of those plug-in objects. This one is a fireplace fixings. So there's a lot of bolts and stuff. I mean, these, okay, I made them into symbols because I needed them in symbols. There you go, it's a lag screw, which is what I call a wall bolt. And you've got parameters on these. I mean, we're not going to go into actually what they all do. Put them in a class called defixing. There they are, detail fixings. And here was a framing member, absolutely, probably the most useful plugin from this entire menu is that framing member. Rafter, didn't get on with that, but this is brilliant. And here we go, you can see the parameters. Yes, it's steel, but it's use, but the most important thing is this, it's structural steel shape, and you get a range of internationally recognised standards. I've got British standards, equal leg of angle, of unequal leg. So that's absolutely crucial, you know, whatever you want, it's all there. It behaves, you can pitch it, these geometrical parameters here are important. It can be in any orientation you like, and then in 2D it behaves like a 2D object, so it gets abbreviated to that, whereas in top view you see it. Okay, I digress. This was a bespoke drop bolt we needed because people were bending down to open a rather heavy door. Health and safety. There's siphonic drainage outlet. It's not a plugin, I made that. This thing is a rather clever subfloor void maker, Italian, it's called Geocast. The kitchen cabinetry has a nice bunch of controllable classes. You'll find you might want to use a countertop separately to the base unit. You can have a lot of fun with the rest of it. So you've seen your cabinet handles, you can stick those on your cabinets. We covered that previous lesson on doors and doors. Yeah, and we have a lot of these. That's a ventilation. Yeah, column's cool. It's symbol, but it's column. You can do quite a lot with that. You can get architectural and structural separate finishes, and then control their materiality and whatnot through the Get Finishes classes thing. If you put a new column in, it will default create that class. Some cupboards, again, 3D symbols, but a lot of parameters for a utility cabinet. Really works quite well, and you can stick a handle on that from the cabinetry rather than the doors. Custom library, so it's custom cabinet handles or something like that. Thanks for watching.